I think everybody knows I'm pretty crazy, right? Yeah, check the line, open your door, and just see how I'm doing compared to.
You're pretty good. Daniel, 11 a.m. Thank you. We can go up the elevator. Yeah, this one has a fortunate dent, or maybe it's part of the art. Sorry. I have a schedule for this week. To figure out. Today's Friday. We're doing this at 11 a.m. Tomorrow. Melissa.
Are you meeting them together or separately?
Well, I'll figure it out.
Okay.
Sunday, it's you and Mom for breakfast, and maybe at that bagel place.
Yeah.
Monday, it's Mom again. Tuesday, it's undetermined. Dan back at 11 a.m. Request that you refrain from all cell phone use in the waiting area. Fair enough.
I don't think when you're in with him you can videotape unless you ask him.
Okay.
It's fine. Can you give you a time?
Yes, that's what I was. No, that's Tuesday. Tuesday.
I like this idea of sort of in-home therapy studio or something like that.
Yeah. Like there were some button downs that were just $100.
Button-down shirts.
Button down shirts,
I know.
$100. I got this for like $15.
Well, I was looking in another area for button-downs, and one that was 230 or something like that. This is like crazy. Who's gonna win for president here?
Beto O'Rourke, definitely. Definitely.
I don't think he's had much of a history. What's Beto done in the past? I know he ran.
Didn't he like make an upset in a state during the last election?
He was challenging
Ted Cruz?
Ted Cruz, and he came much closer than people thought. But
He didn't win. I also like his name.
The Beto part of the award.
Yeah.
He's a guy who's been through a lot. Apparently, he was like an alcoholic for a while, and he was involved in a car accident where somebody got killed, and he's got this past that he's not apologetic about, but he's sort of faced it overcome. Makes him a very appealing candidate to me. Humility, he's got humility.
Yeah. Bernie Sanders, I don't know about it. He had a good run.
I like Bernie.
I love Bernie.
I'm a fan.
Hey,
See ya.
how are you?
Good. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Should we meet alone first, or together first, or?
I was gonna do it together first, and
Together
then
first, and
he'll take off.
Okay.
In a few
Sounds
minutes.
good
Yeah.
to me. Always good. So.
Which is your spot?
I don't know. Here.
Which is your spot here, so I'll go over here.
Good. So, yeah, thanks for coming in. It's good to
Yeah.
kind of get caught up on things. I don't have any particular agenda for when the three of us are together. I just kind of, mostly just want to hear about how you've been feeling. And I don't know if you have any particular things you want to talk about while your dad's here, or if he has any particular things.
Well, a lot of different things have happened lately. I was living at home over the summer, and then we decided I would go to McLean.
Yeah.
I spent about a week or two at McLean. Couldn't handle the anxiety.
Yeah.
Had to leave. Spent another few days at home.
Yeah.
Then I was feeling incredibly anxious and agitated and overall bad, and I ran away. I decided I would like to go to Hawaii to enjoy the beach
Mm-hmm.
and the warm weather and just the waves. And I went there, and that was stayed there for a couple weeks. Eventually, my sister Juliana came and joined me there, and we made our way back here. And then we found an Airbnb because I felt like I didn't want to stay at home.
Some space. Yeah.
So we found an Airbnb, not too expensive per night, for 2 weeks. So I'm there for another week. Next Friday I'm moving out, and I've been spending mornings hanging out with family, doing some kind of activity with family, either him or my mom coming and going to breakfast or something like that, seeing my siblings, and then the rest of the day working on art projects.
Got it.
And then that's pretty much how it's been for the past 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
That's where I'm at right now.
Okay.
And yeah.
Got it. That's a good summary. I appreciate that. Can I ask, when you went to Hawaii, like, that you had that idea of kind of maybe I feel like just get away, feel better? Like, did it help at all, or did it?
Yeah, I think it helped. I was just looking for relief, and I think although it was a little bit of a rash decision and it didn't immediately give me relief, like when I landed in Hawaii and was just staying at like a Marriott in Honolulu, like I wasn't feeling relief.
That was the same.
Yeah, that was the same, but eventually, as I visited beaches and got more settled in, I felt the relief that I was looking for, just a little bit, and yeah, so I appreciated that. Yeah,
And then when you came back, kind of just back to where it was.
back to where it was. Pretty much solidifying the idea that I didn't want to be staying home.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Is there anything you want while I'm here to talk about or specifically?
Well, for the medication, I took the Ativan. I was taking the Ativan. The
Yeah.
Ativan seemed like it was kind of enough, but not really.
Yeah.
And now I changed to the, what is it called again? Klonopin.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like it feels like it's giving me some relief, but not really that much relief.
Does it feels not as good as the Ativan, or it feels about the same?
I think like you said, I feel like I noticed Ativan was more of a spike
Or ups
of,
and downs. Yeah.
and then this is more just kind of just mild relief over a longer period of time.
But maybe without the spikes
Without
of
the
relief.
spikes of relief, yeah.
It's just kind of pros and cons.
Yeah, so
Got it.
I am feeling like I'm not getting the relief that I want.
Yeah.
And I understand that going up on the Klonopin has its drawbacks as well.
Yeah.
That's where I'm kind of wondering what you think.
Yeah. Thankfully, you got a good psychiatrist to help with that.
Yeah.
Are you also, and you're also still taking the Prestige?
I'm also taking the Prestige and Abilify every day, yeah.
And you've been regular about those?
Yeah, well, except when I was away in Hawaii.
Sure,
I didn't
you
have, yeah.
And the Prestige, are you doing 50 again, or are you doing 100?
I'm doing 50.
Okay. And the Abilify, you're doing 2?
I think 2, yeah.
One pill.
Yeah, one pill, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk to you more, just to hear more about, kind of
I can step out.
everything that's
whenever.
been going on. But no, I think it is pretty clear that we need to do something. That it seems like
Yeah.
you're having a lot of intense emotions and anxiety. It sounds like the medicines are helping a little bit, but not that much. And so I do suspect that they're helping. I think it's worth trying something else. Like it is worth trying to do something, and whether that be, Klonopin, sure, going up on it has pros and cons. Probably, I think it could help temporarily. It's definitely not a great long-term solution.
Yeah.
Because your body will develop a tolerance to it and become kind of less effective over time.
I think this is an okay time for you to step out.
I'll step out.
Okay.
I'm out of here.
Well,
Are you going to
I'll
stick
stay right
around?
here.
Or
Yeah,
okay, so why don't we chat? and then-
I'll be out here.
you're gonna stick around? I thought I was
Yeah.
just gonna get an Uber home.
You are, but I saved enough time to be here at the end of the appointment.
Okay,
So we can just reconvene maybe for a few minutes. at
Okay.
the end.
Yeah, if there is anything to.
Yeah.
It's totally up to you guys.
Okay.
I'll be out there.
Thank you.
thanks.
So yeah, but I do think it seems like we should try something.
Yeah, because obviously, like, just taking a lot of Klonopin would give me that relief that I'm looking for, but it would come with a lot of drawbacks.
Yeah. What were the drawbacks you were thinking of? I can certainly think of some, but
Dependence, mostly just like addiction. If I don't have access to it, then pretty much feeling trapped and unable to really do anything. Reliance, yeah.
yeah, no, I think that's right. I think also there's just a certain degree of this may not actually sound like a drawback, but there's a certain degree to which it's like, it's not just Klonopin, any medication, that it's like, are we just trying to sedate you, or are we trying to help you feel better? And it's like, and those things may be similar, like there may be some overlap there,
Yeah.
in that when you're feeling really, really anxious and agitated, sedation may be somewhat desirable, but like
Yeah, I think
just sleeping.
it kind of is. Yeah. Well, I haven't
Is it making you tired at all?
kind of just speaking in the last 4 or 5 days while I've lived at this Airbnb. I haven't. My sleep schedule has been pretty regular.
Yeah.
Just getting up in the morning around 9, being pretty active
And
during
like
the
you can
day.
get up and get out, and it's not like
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not taking naps, and I'm going to bed around like, I don't know, 9 or 10.
It's great.
Yeah. So it seems pretty normal.
And then the I'm just curious about like, so it sounds like when you went to the OCDI things got worse, like you felt more
I
anxious.
felt worse, yeah.
Which I don't know if they talk with you about this or not, but like that's not surprising necessarily. That I think that a lot of people feel a lot worse when they start something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm wondering, like, if you have any sense of just like how different and or what is different, let's say now compared to like 6 months ago, a year ago. Just like, I mean, like, is this worse? What are you feeling?
I feel a little better than I felt 6 months ago, just because, well, for one thing, I've been taking the Ativan and the Klonopin more. I've been
Right.
supplementing the extra Ativan with the Klonopin, just to let you know. I don't know if that's a bad idea or anything.
How much? Like what?
Like in the morning, like I'll take a Klonopin, and then if I'm feeling like I'll be extra anxious, I'll add Ativan.
Like a
Yeah, with
0.5.
Yeah, which is one pill of
So you're,
Ativan.
so you're doing 0.5 of Klonopin 3 times.
On average, sometimes it's once per day. Sometimes it's more than 3 times per day.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. And then
So not following the direct
we can talk about
suggestion.
it.
Yeah.
There's pros and cons to mixing them. I think sometimes people would say it's easier just to kind of like pick one and stick with it, just so you kind of know exactly what you're getting and how much you're taking and things like that.
Makes sense.
On the other hand, they act differently. That as you kind of were saying, the Ativan kicks in sooner, and so it's not uncommon for people to have to use both. And you just have to kind of keep track of kind of the equivalency. Have there been any moments where you felt like I took too much? That I'm feeling like super sedated,
No.
slurring my speech, and like not able to walk, kind of.
There's definitely feeling sedated, but I'm not sure what the reason for this is, but I don't really see that as a drawback.
Yeah.
Or it's like feeling the intense just stress and anxiety, or feeling kind of sedated. I would pick sedated. Pick sedated like so much. Like
Well, no, that's what I was saying before. That like I wasn't sure that sedation might not seem like that big of a drawback to you right now.
Right now, at least, yeah.
But that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Have you been drinking at all?
No other drugs or alcohol.
Okay, good. That's the other big kind of caution.
Yeah.
So you actually think maybe you're feeling a little better than 6 months ago because you're taking the benzos a little more regularly.
Yeah, and I have my own space now, which is something that helps. Yeah. I don't know how much difference that makes, but the drugs
Oh, I suspect
make a lot of difference.
Yeah. I guess one of the things I was wondering is just kind of like, is like what you're dealing with in terms of like anxiety, thoughts, and things like that. Like, has that changed at all, or is it like this like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, now?
It's all
like,
the same. It feels like all the same thing,
just feels
all
like
the
the
same
same.
anxiety that I'm dealing with. Yeah.
Like, I could appreciate that someone might say like it's worse now because it's just like longer it goes on, the more frustrating it is, the more hopeless it feels, the more, that it's just like there's a certain degree of like, just, yeah.
Yeah. I would say it feels pretty similar to how it felt 6 months ago. Longer ago, I would say it's different than longer than that ago.
And what's different about it?
I don't know if I've talked to you about this before, but there are certain like coincidences that I see as supernatural, and they really scare me, and they affect me like a lot. They're pretty hard to describe, but they occur on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
That is sort of a new, and it's not new, but I would say starting maybe 3 years ago, building up, getting stronger over the past year,
Got it.
and still experiencing that.
And it's like more focus on that now, like more.
Yeah, like that's adding to what's distressing.
Got it.
The other distressing thoughts about like I'm not good enough, comparing myself to others, other people are gonna judge me, or there's something wrong with me. Those thoughts have been going on for years and years.
Yeah. Got it. The kind of the supernatural stuff. Can you give me an example? Just like an example.
It's very hard to give an example
Yeah.
because it's so internal.
I was thinking it might be.
Well, this is a type of example. So a few days ago, I was eating lunch with my mom after a session with Dan Beck,
Mm-hmm.
which went pretty well. And we were just eating ramen in the shop. And I felt like for that experience, I would need an Ativan or a Klonopin to just sort of feel okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of felt like I was descending into anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like when an anxious thought would occur to me, somebody at the next table would say something that would connect with my thought.
Got it.
And sort of, it was like somehow their comment was connected to my random negative thought.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And like, is that like does that? I don't want to make assumptions, but like, would that make you not want to be there? Like, is it distressing in a way that's like I don't want to? Like, I don't want.
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
It's
Like that could be a desire, like a reason to want to be isolated. If like you were feeling, if you were feeling that way from other people's thoughts, that.
Yeah, that is a huge reason, huge cause for distress, and a reason that I want to be isolated.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no, the reason I wanted to check on that was I've heard of people that have experiences like that where like sometimes they actually enjoy it and there's like some sort of positive they get from that. But I was getting the sense from it was not a.
Yeah, I would say 80% of the time it's negative, and maybe 20% of the time it's this interesting experience. But with the anxiety, it increases it.
And is there ever a way in which like you actually like kind of communicate with people via your thoughts, like a telepathic or telekinesis kind of way?
Well, I think that's where the OCD comes in, and I feel like I need to think certain thoughts to neutralize the anxiety.
Yeah.
And somehow get rid of the bad feeling.
Got it.
And that's where like the magical kind of reaction.
Have to have a certain thought or have to do a certain thing to get rid of that.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about like whether just how you understand all of that. Like if you understand all of that, is like this is some variant of OCD in terms of like the way the thought process is working here.
And how my how my thought process responds to the anxiety.
Yeah.
That's good. I hadn't really connected the dots like that before. This is good. Yeah.
And then oh, bless you.
Thank you.
Was there anything at the OCDI that was helpful? Was there anything that you took out of that that felt kind of like, oh, this is interesting or useful?
It's hard to say. There were definitely a lot of helpful things, but there were also a lot of distressing things as well. There were definitely helpful things. I can't. Nothing comes to mind.
Was the distressing part just like being around more people, and was that the main? Yeah. And oh, I think you saw Dr. Doherty there, probably maybe just once. I don't know.
Dr. Doherty. Yes.
The psychiatrist.
Yes,
yeah.
I saw him a couple times.
A couple times, yeah. He emailed me a little bit. I know him from years ago. He didn't have a whole lot to add. I don't know if you guys. My question for you was kind of like, was there anything you guys talked about that you feel like I should know about? Or like,
no.
I don't know if you talked about anything else medication-wise or anything.
He increased my dose of Prestique, which
Right.
we go back down. That's pretty much it.
And then the yellow, like you were jaundiced, I guess, for a little while.
Yeah.
Like, did Dr. Schwartz know why, or did anyone figure out like what that was about?
No.
Because I know we went back down. That's when we were talking. Because I was like, maybe there's some sort of connection here, so we should go back down. But
Yeah, I don't think we really figured that
that's how
out.
it happened. Yeah. But that's gone now. Like you feel
Yeah.
like that's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was good.
But
And
it was
then
good.
how about like mood wise, like just like depression and we talked about anxiety and OCD.
Yeah, the depressed mood is definitely somewhat there. I feel a little bit more energetic since I've gotten back from Hawaii though.
Got it. Any like suicidal thoughts at all? That kind of thing?
Not at the moment. No,
Was it there before? Like not at the moment, so it implies maybe that there was some.
yeah, I don't know how long ago it was. Maybe 6 months ago is my guess.
Yeah.
It got really bad.
Okay. But not in the last few weeks.
Not in the last few weeks. Yep.
And what do you want to do? Like, what do you? I mean, so you said you have the Airbnb
Until Friday.
Friday.
Yeah.
So I'm curious what you're thinking.
What I would want.
Yeah, or just kind of like just kind of what you.
I want relief from the distress and the anxiety. I would like a place, a space to myself and time to myself to work on personal, creative projects.
Mm-hmm.
And I really do want that.
Mm-hmm.
Like
art and stuff like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, art and music.
Are you able to do any art and music right now? Or
Yeah, I was working a lot on stuff over the past 3 or 4 days. Yeah.
Does that bring any relief for the distress?
Yeah, it is. It is satisfying making a product,
Yeah,
having a product that I've made.
yeah.
Either visual or audio.
And like, so in terms of relief from distress, like, do you get relief from the distress while you're doing it, or is it just at the final product?
The final product is the satisfaction. Yeah.
And then, like, how long would that last for? Like,
It's kind of just a nice feeling that I have for a while.
and then something you just
And, yeah, so the drawbacks, the dependence I am worried about, but as long as it's being controlled by you,
yeah.
by everyone else on the treatment team, I'm okay with it. Right now, I just want relief.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all I want right now. Yeah, yeah.
Are you right? So it sounds like in terms of goals, like number one goal is some sort of kind of relief from the anxiety, relief from the. And it sounds like it is, like in terms of like the balance between anxiety and depression right now. That anxiety is feeling higher on the list. That it's kind of like that's the most intense.
Yeah, it's the
distress right
anxiety.
now.
Yeah.
And so relief from distress, I guess, and you're thinking kind of like some space to have your own space and do creative work and things like that.
I get satisfaction from that. Yeah.
I guess one of the other questions I had, and I'm just primarily just trying to figure out kind of what you're thinking and where you're at, is just like to what degree treatment plays a role at this point, even besides medication. It's just like whether there's any desire for treatment or not, or desire not for treatment, where you're at with all that.
My mom doesn't want me to be alone without contact for long periods of time. So where we stand right now is that I'll do one activity with another person every day.
Mm-hmm.
So today it's this.
Mm-hmm.
I have it planned out until for the next week, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So as far as treatment, we had talked about Dan Beck had talked about some connection he has, getting like a college student who's studying mental health and having them as my coach
Mm-hmm.
and doing an activity with them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like someone in the community, like someone you could meet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
someone I can meet up with. They can come to where
Yeah.
I stay, or I could meet up with them. And
Just to have someone else to do something with.
Yeah.
Actually, let me ask the question of like, so what we talked about before is right. So like, if you go out to like you're at the ramen shop with your mom, or
Yeah.
people are like, is the anxiety better if you are with someone you know? Like, is it like if you had to go out into the world by yourself versus with someone you know, like, does that help?
I'm honestly not sure. It
Yeah.
feels like with someone that I trust, it helps.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the model of like what he's talking, what you're talking about there is like if you found someone that you liked and trusted, and maybe that person would be the right person or not, but that like it would just maybe help
Yeah.
to do things that you want to do.
Yes.
And living after Friday, have you guys talked about that at all?
Well, I'm gonna move back home for the time being, but best case scenario, I spend that time finding a new place where I can live more long term, like sort of a monthly rental.
Got it.
I don't really care where or what it is,
Yeah.
as long as it's
some
my
sort
own
of-
space.
sort of apartment.
Yeah.
You can rent as opposed to a Airbnb or hotel.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
very grateful that my parents are gonna support me
Sure.
with that step for seems like another month.
Yeah, sounds like good.
Yeah.
Happy to feel that. That part about your mom, like, not wanting to go too long without like contact with people, do you have a sense of what that's about? Like, is it?
I think she's just worried that I won't eat, won't shower, won't take care of myself. She's worried that just isolation will be bad for me.
Sure. Yeah. Do you agree with that?
In an ideal world, I would have my own space, my own apartment with all the art supplies that I could want, working on that, and then doing other stuff, seeing people as I see fit,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and not having the not like having required, not being required to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, of course. I guess what I'm wondering is like, do you agree that there's a risk that like you might stop taking care of yourself as much as you should, or like it sounds like that's what she's worried about.
Yeah,
right?
that's
Like,
what
this
she's worried about.
possibility that
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and I take, like, when she says that, I'm not like, oh, stop it, I'll be fine. Like, I kind of believe her worry a
You
little
can
bit.
appreciate it.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that, yeah.
That's what I was wondering. Like, I mean, it seems like a reasonable.
It seems totally reasonable because I've gone through so many
Yeah.
periods of just sleeping all day and being
Yeah.
on the computer and not taking care of myself.
Oh, I was going to ask you. I can't remember. Dan, I saw an email. There's been a few different, Dan and Kenny and I were emailing a little bit, and I can't remember if this. I can't remember actually where this came from exactly, but there was like when you first came back, I heard you were kind of like repeating your name a little bit,
Yeah.
or like taking video. I was just curious what that was about.